Hello there, friends of truth and seekers of wisdom. Welcome to Declare Family, where wisdom meets reality, where scriptures are not just read but understood, lived, and even felt. So, today into an ancient scripture, but we're stepping into a living reality. So, the book of Daniel, through chapter 1 through to 4, is not just about the history of Babylon, it's about the identity in a world that constantly tries to redefine you. It's about pressure, purpose, power, the unseen hand of God moving through everything. So let's begin. Daniel chapter 1, in a moment that feels like a loss, where Jerusalem has fallen, the temple, which was once God's a symbol of presence, has been plundered, and young men full of potential are taken captive into Babylon, and among them is Daniel. Um, Daniel and his friends are chosen for training. They are given new names, new education, even new diet. Everything here is intentional. It's like a system. It's not about survival anymore. This is now about assimilation. But then comes one of the most powerful and quiet decisions in the scripture. Daniel resolves in his heart not to defy himself. That line echoes deeply in that there was no noise, no pro conviction. It reminds us of Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So Daniel chooses a different path, a simple one, just vegetables and water. It sounds small, but it's spiritual because sometimes the biggest battles are fought in the small ones. And this is where now God responds. Daniel and his friends don't just survive, they excel and they stand out. Wisdom, understanding, and excellence, they become like 10 times better than the rest. That's what happens when conviction meets consistency. So that is chapter 1.
Now imagine this in today's terms, you are taken out of everything familiar, your home, your culture, your beliefs, and placed into a system designed to reshape how you think, speak, and live. That's Babylon, not just a place, but a system. Then we step into Daniel chapter 2, and the atmosphere shifts. King Nebuchadnezzar is disturbed by a dream, not just a dream, a divine message that shakes him. But here's the twist. He doesn't tell anyone the dream. He demands that his wise men reveal both the dream and its meaning. It's impossible. Human wisdom hits a wall. But Daniel does something different. He doesn't panic. He prays. He gathers his friends and they seek God together. That moment reflects Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 3. Call to me, and I will answer you, and I will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known. And God answers. Daniel stands before the king, not with arrogance, but humility. No wise man can do this, but there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, and I quote. That statement alone shifts the focus from human ability to divine authority. The dream unfolds, a massive statue made of different materials: gold, silver, bronze, iron, and clay, each representing kingdoms that will rise and fall. But then a stone, not cut by human hands, strikes the statue and destroys it completely. That stone represents God's kingdom, eternal, unshakable, unstoppable. Here's the message: everything that looks permanent right now, systems, power, influence, is temporary. Only what God built will last. Psalms 127 verse 1 says, unless the Lord build the house, the builders labor in vain.
So on to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is where the pressure goes up to another level, where Nebuchadnezzar builds a golden image which is massive, commanding, impossible to ignore, and sets a law. And when the music starts to play, everyone must bow to it. Thinking about that, it's not a forced belief. This is a forced display, which is public conformity, and in that moment thousands bow. He calls unto all his governors, every leader in Babylon. He calls every leader in Babylon, and they come and everyone bows to the image, the golden image. And in that moment where thousands bow, but three men stand. This is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. No crowd, no backup, just conviction. They are brought before the king, and their response is bold. Our God is able to deliver us, but even if he does not, we will not serve your gods. They stood onto business and defended the Lord of Israel. That's even if faith is rare. Even if it doesn't go my way, I know God will show up. That is not something that all of us or most of us believe in. When you see a problem, people usually tend to be like taken aback and they lose their faith. But here we have Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they say, if God won't deliver us now, they know that he'll still show up. They won't give in to King Nebuchadnezzar's wants. So they are thrown into fire, and the fire is heated beyond the measure, but something supernatural happens. They are not consumed by the fire. Instead, a fourth figure appears, walking with them in the flames. Isaiah chapter 43 verse 2 comes alive. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. How wonderful is that? Notice this. God didn't stop the fire. He stepped into it. So whatever we are going through, God will come, and if you have God in your life, if you allow yourself to walk with God, whatever you will be going through, God will come and walk through it with us. He won't stop it. He'll help you succumb it. So, and when they came out of the fire, not even the smell of smoke was on them. That's complete preservation. God preserved them through the fire. So this just means that whatever life is throwing against us, God will be there to preserve us through it. He will not let it affect us. But that can only happen if we stand firm in his word.
Chapter 4 shifts the focus back to the king, but now it's personal. Nebuchadnezzar has another dream. A great tree, strong and visible to all, is cut down. Daniel interprets it. It's about the king himself. His pride has reached a point where God will humble him. Daniel even warns him, turn away from your pride. Show mercy, change your ways. But the warning is ignored. And one day, as the king walks through his palace, he says, is this not great Babylon I have built by my mighty power? That moment seals it. His sanity leaves him. He is driven away, living like an animal. The king becomes a shadow of himself until something shifts. He looks up, and in that moment of humility, everything changes. His understanding returns, his kingdom is restored, and he declares that God is sovereign over all. James chapter 4 verse 6 says, God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. And that's the turning point. Now, when you step back and look at these 4 chapters together, a pattern emerges. In chapter 1, God is present in private decisions. In chapter 2, God reveals what humans cannot understand. And in chapter 3, God walks with you through the fire. And in chapter 4, God humbles pride and restores the broken. This is not just Daniel's story, it's a mirror. We live in a modern Babylon, a world of pleasure, to fit in, to compromise, to bow to trends, to trade truth for acceptance. But Daniel's life asks us for a real question. Can you stand when it's not popular? Can you stay rooted when everything around you is shifting? The message is clear. You don't need to be loud to be powerful, just consistent. You don't need to control outcomes, just trust God. You don't need to avoid the fire, just know who is with you in it. And you don't need to chase greatness, just stay humble under God. Because at the end of it all, kingdoms will rise and fall, trends will come and go, but those who stand with God will stand forever. This is Declare Family. Subscribe and follow on all platforms for weekly life transforming insights. Stay grounded, stay aware, stay aligned with truth.
Bye.